I had been away for 5 days on business, returning with the usual exhaustion that follows long flights and hotel rooms that all blur together. Apartment smelled faintly of disinfectant, too clean, too ordered. My keys rattled in the lock, echoing louder than they should. The silence pressed against me before anyone spoke. My parents were sitting at the dining table, papers in front of them, faces calm, almost rehearsed. We did what we thought was best, my mother said softly. My father avoided my eyes. Took a moment for their words to land. My son, my 7-year-old boy, was gone, sent away. To a shelter for troubled boys, they said. I should have been grateful. They implied that they were doing this on my behalf. We are not cut out to raise someone else's mistake. My father added. I stared at them. My heart raced, but my mouth stayed shut. There were no accusations yet, only the hollow shock that comes when the people you trust most manipulate reality in front of you. Could feel my authority slipping away, yet I clutched it inside quietly like a fist of ice. Memory crept in, small, sharp recollections of conversations I hadn't recognized at the time. The subtle undermining, the quiet suggestions that I wasn't capable, moments where I had relied on their judgment and they had, bit by bit, diminished mine. It was all too clear now. I didn't scream, plead. I didn't even raise my voice. I went home, gathered the evidence I needed, and called the shelter. Falsified documents, signature that wasn't mine, legal loopholes they had exploited under the guise of my absence. The realization tightened around me, cold clarity. By the time I drove to the shelter, my mind had settled into a strange stillness. Parents had assumed their quiet manipulation would go unchallenged. They had underestimated the resolve I could summon, not through fury, but through careful, methodical authority. I arrived, papers in hand, my son asleep in the arms of a counselor who had treated him well but knew my rights better. I spoke clearly, without hesitation, presenting each piece of evidence, each legal stipulation. No flourish, no threats, only facts. The moment was unmistakable. Shelter staff deferred. The parents, who had expected control, could only watch as their subtle manipulation collapsed silently before them. Their calm demeanor cracked in tiny, almost imperceptible ways. Surprise, disbelief, the faintest edge of shame, visible but unvoiced, gathered my son. He clung to me as if he'd known this moment would come, or perhaps because he simply trusted the rhythm of my presence more than theirs. My parents lingered, offering excuses that sounded hollow even to them. We left together. I didn't turn back. My son slept through most of the drive home, exhausted from the stress he hadn't been able to name. I thought about the quiet victory that had been won not with shouting, not with rage, but with presence, clarity, and the assertion of undeniable authority. At home, the apartment felt alive again, changed. The silence no longer pressed, it held space for us. But the absence of reconciliation was palpable. Trust I had once placed in my parents had fractured, perhaps beyond repair. I could not celebrate this victory. It was too quiet, too controlled, but I recognized its weight. My authority at last restored. My son returned. And yet the cost lingered, subtle ache that would not vanish. I sat with him that evening, reading quietly while he rested on the sofa. No words were necessary. The reclamation had already spoken volumes. Outside, the world continued, indifferent to the small, hard-earned justice within these walls. And in that stillness, I felt the slow, unwavering certainty that even in betrayal, one could reclaim dignity without spectacle, without vengeance, simply by standing firm when it mattered most.